of the House. You have your leaders detailed out in the standing orders. So you just don't write to the Speaker demanding that you want to absent yourself for whatever reason. You have to go through the whole procedure and get the recommendations from your leaders before it comes to the Speaker. We are compiling the attendance for the last meeting. And those who are found wanting will be referred to the appropriate committee for action to be taken. So please, we will no longer temper justice with mercy. The law will be fully applied. May we now, honorable members, recite the National Pledge. I will now usually mention a member's name to lead us to recite the National Pledge. Today being the opening meeting, the leader of the House, the majority leader, will lead us to recite the National Pledge. Honorable members, silence please.
I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal.
Congratulations. Honorable members, we just complied with Order 69 of the Standing Orders of the House, which says that the House shall recite the National Pledge as set out in the fourth schedule at the first sitting of every week of a meeting. So it's not an imposition of the Speaker. That is what we all agreed and approved to do in our standing orders. So please, the first sitting of every week, you have to recite the National Pledge. I have received a number of messages from His Excellency the President. I want to, with your permission, refer those that came when we were on recess. Because you know, by law, the President must give prior notice to Parliament before he or she departs the jurisdiction. And so, whilst we were on recess, a number of them came. Due to time constraints, I will not be able to read through all. I will just call on the official reporters to capture all what was submitted to the House in the official reports of the House. I so direct. The recent ones, definitely, I'll have to draw your attention to them. We have one dated 26th May 2026, and it reads, Right Honorable Speaker, I'm overspeeding. 2025, sorry. Absence from Ghana. Pursuant to Article 59 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I write to formally inform you of my intention to travel to Abidjan on 26 May 2025 to participate in the 2025 annual meetings of African Development Bank Group, scheduled to be held on 27th May 2025, and I return same day. During my absence, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman, shall, in accordance with Article 68 of the Constitution, assume my duties. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. Honorable members, I have another message from His Excellency the President, dated 20th May 2025. It also reads, Right Honorable Speaker, appointment of justices to the Supreme Court. On 29th April 2025, I submitted my nominations by letter to the Judicial Council for appointment to the Supreme Court. The chairperson, Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafubone, on behalf of the Council, advised me on 5th of May 2025 of the suitability of my underlisted nominees for appointment to the Supreme Court. Names: 1. Justice Senyor Jamefe. 2. Justice Sir Dennis Dominic Ajay. 3. Justice Biel Simon Turbare. 4. Justice Philip Bright Mensah. 5. Justice Janapari Azua Batels Kojo. 6. Justice Hafisata Amaliboba. 7. Justice Kweku Tawia Aka Buafo. In accordance with my duty under Article 1442 of the Constitution of Ghana, 1992, I consulted with the Council of State by submitting the above names and their curricula vitae to the Council of State. On 7th May 2025, the Council of State notified me by a letter and a report indicating their suitability for appointment. Accordingly, pursuant to Article 1442 of the 1992 Constitution, I am requesting that Parliament consider and approve the appointment of the nominees as Justices of the Supreme Court of Ghana. Attached are their curricula vitae. Mr. Speaker, it is my respectful hope and expectation that the approval of the nominees will proceed expeditiously to enable them to assume offices as soon as practicable. Please accept the assurances of my highest consideration. Signed, John Dramani Mahama. Honorable members, I have copies of the CVs of the nominees, and I accordingly refer this to the Appointment Committee for consideration and report to the House. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I recommend that we allow the leadership of the Judiciary Committee to participate in the vetting of the nominees to the post of Supreme Court Justices.
Minority from bench, you heard the Majority Leader. What do you have to say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in reference to our standing orders, we believe that subject matter committee representatives are always allowed to participate in such vetting or hearing. So I agree that reference should be made to the committee. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, please, member, are you on your feet? Honorable member. Well, I will call on the members of the Judicial Committee led by their leaders. I don't know the leaders of the committee. And I will try and give details so that you can get the specific persons involved. That is dealing with Appointments Committee, Standing Order 2175. (2171) details out the core members of the Appointments Committee. Yes, please.
Speaker, with respect, not to belabor the point, if you reference 2172, that with your indulgence, it says, amongst other things, the chairperson and ranking member and 2 other members of the relevant subject matter standing or select committee shall join. So, by extensions, we may not even limit ourselves to only the judiciary committee. By extension, we could even consider the Constitutional and Legal and the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. No, Subsidiary Legislation and Constitutional and Legal are relevant in this context.
Yeah. It was for good reason that I called on the leadership of the minority to respond to the application, because the application was specific. It mentioned only Judicial Committee. And your leader, represented by the deputy, submitted your position. Now, you have brought in a new application. It means that I have to listen to the majority as to whether they will agree that we add beyond the leadership of the Judicial Committee.
Mr. Speaker, I do not object to the Constitutional and Legal Committee leadership joining, but I don't think the Subsidiary Legislation Committee should join. So I agree with him to the extent that he proposes the leadership of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee.
Honorable members, it's still important I read those provisions so that we are all clear as to who in particular is expected to be part of the Appointments Committee. 2171 says the Appointments Committee comprises the First Deputy Speaker as chairperson, Minority Leader as ranking member, the Deputy Majority Leader as vice chairperson, the Deputy Minority Leader as deputy ranking member, and the following other members. Honorable member, please, are completely out of order. Members should know that you don't stand with your back to the maize. It's unparliamentary. If you want to whisper to a friend, you move to the side of the friend or the back of the colleague or friend and whisper. But your back to the maize shows disrespect to the authority of the house, which is the maize. Please. Honorable members, after these members of the leadership, we also have the majority chief whip, the minority chief whip, and 5 other members selected based on the numerical strength of the parties in Parliament. Two, the chairperson and ranking member and 2 other members of the relevant subject matter standing or select committee that join the members of the appointment committee to consider persons nominated by the President for appointment as Chief Justice and Justices of the Supreme Court, Ministers of State, Deputy Ministers, the Administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund, the Special Prosecutor, and other persons specified under the Constitution or any other enactment. More relevant is 2175, which says a member of the appointments committee or the leadership and the two other members of the relevant subject matter standing or select committee joining the appointments committee shall not be a minister of state or deputy minister or a minister or deputy minister designate, except where the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs is the majority leader. Fortunately, we don't have Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. So that one applies to situations where we have that ministry in place. So please, these are the members that will constitute the appointments committee to go into this referral. But the general rule that permits members to be in attendance applies. So any member of parliament can be in attendance, but definitely you have no right to vote. And subject to the permission of the chair, you may ask questions. Members, it is so decided. Honourable members, I think it's proper at this time, whilst waiting for some dignitaries from one of our neighboring countries, I grant permission to the leaders to at least welcome you to this meeting. After that, I will also give my welcome remarks. We will start with that of the minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, fellow citizens, we gather here today not only to reconvene a legislative session, but to recommit to the solemn duty imposed upon us by the Constitution to serve the people of Ghana with honor, vigilance, and integrity. Yet, I must confess, this Parliament resumes amidst grave constitutional anxiety, rising public distress, and a government that seems to be on autopilot. A government either asleep at the wheel or entirely indifferent to the suffering, insecurity, and institutional corruption engulfing our republic. Let us begin with a matter that strikes at the very soul of our democratic architecture, the independence of the judiciary. Mr. Speaker, the audacious attempt by the presidency to undermine judicial independence have reached dangerous proportions. The nation watched in disbelief as the executive launched brazen efforts to remove the Chief Justice of the Republic. An assault not merely on one officer holder, but on the very sanctity of the judicial branch. At the same time, the president is seeking to pack the Supreme Court with loyalists. 7 nominations in one swoop, clearly designed to bind the hands of the Judicial Council and tilt the highest court in the land towards executive interest. Equally troubling is the identity of the legal practitioners leading this crusade. While the right to counsel is sacrosanct and every citizen is entitled to legal representation of their choosing, it is profoundly disquieting that the lawyers spearheading the campaign against the Chief Justice are individuals publicly known to have represented or are still representing both the President and the Speaker of Parliament in active legal matters. These lawyers do not act in vacuum. They act on the instructions of their clients. And when such lawyers become the face and the voice of petition to remove the Chief Justice, it becomes exceedingly difficult, if not impossible, for the public to disassociate the petition from the political authorities they serve. Mr. Speaker, this is not about professional competence. It is about democratic perception. It is about the appearance and indeed the growing reality of political capture of our constitutional process. We must ask ourselves, when the lawyers of the executive and the legislature turn their sights on the judiciary, whose independence is being preserved and whose agenda is being prosecuted? When these actors drive a petition with such grave implications, and the very architecture of checks and balances comes on the scene, and let us be blunt, how then can any Ghanaian trust the president acted with malice, without political motive, when he claims to have made a prima facie determination against the Chief Justice and suspended her supposedly in consultation with the Council of State? How do we reconcile the constitutional seriousness of such a determination with the glaring political entanglements surrounding the petitions? The entire process is cloaked in opacity, infected with conflict, and dripping with contradictions. It insults both constitutional logic and the intelligence of the Ghanaian people. This is not constitutional governance. It is a calculated weaponization of constitutional mechanism. It is not justice being pursued. It is control being consolidated. If this House fails to interrogate this moment with seriousness it deserves, then we too risk becoming complicit in the slow suffocation of the judicial independence in Ghana. Let us rise firmly and without fear to affirm that our judiciary must remain beyond the grasp of partisanship and beyond the reach of political retaliation. Equally frightening, Mr. Speaker, is the growing abuse of the coercive powers of the state. National security operatives, some acting with impunity, have taken to raiding the homes of former appointees, members of parliament, and ordinary citizens with the faintest provocation. We are dangerously close to becoming a republic where state power is weaponized, not for protection, but prosecution. Mr. Speaker, I must now turn attention to most troubling development in our nation's foreign affairs. Just yesterday, the Minister for the Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, with the reported blessing of President Mahama, announced the closure of Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C., citing allegedly corrupt practices uncovered by a ministerial audit team. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear. Corruption must be confronted, but such confrontation must be lawful. It must be measured and aligned with Ghana's long-term diplomatic interests, and not reckless, knee-jerk, or politically performative. It is an astonishing and deeply regrettable decision that the government's response to internal administrative failure is to shut down one of our most important missions abroad, even if only for what they call a few days. This embassy, located in the capital of the United States, the world's most influential nation, is not a district office of a private company. It is a sovereign outpost of the Republic of Ghana. It represents the face, the dignity, and the credibility of our nation. To shatter it abruptly because a single staff member was caught engaging in criminal behavior, conduct that could and should be prosecuted without disrupting diplomatic operations, it's not just excessive, it is diplomatically amateurist. Mr. Speaker, the ministry decision has already caused confusion and distress to Ghanaians abroad, many of whom rely on the embassy for consular services, visa and passport renewals, and critical documentation. It sends a dangerous signal to the international community that our government lacks the institutional maturity to isolate wrongdoing without imploding on the entire system. It also fuels perceptions that Ghana is unstable in its diplomatic governance and unstrategic in managing scandals. Moreover, how does a government that claims to value national reputation explain away with a dramatic act to its foreign partners or multilateral agencies given to the U.S. State Department? What assurances can we be given to the U.S. State Department, investors, or multilateral agencies headquartered in Washington, D.C., that Ghana remains a reliable and stable diplomatic partner? No other serious nation reacts to an internal administrative fraud by collapsing its entire embassy structure unless it is filled straight. or one deeply unsure of itself. Let it be stated unequivocally, this House would not allow such recklessness to go unexamined. The Minister for Foreign Affairs will be summoned before Parliament without delay to provide a full account of the decision to close our embassy. The legal basis for doing so, the implication for Ghana's diplomatic posture, and the cost, both financial and reputational, this country will bear. We demand to know how and why a sweeping measure we demand to know how and why such a sweeping measure was taken without prior consultation with the House, and whether the Council of State, the Cabinet, or even the President's Foreign Policy Advisory Team was involved in any form of deliberations. Accountability in foreign service is not a slogan. It is a national imperative. The diplomatic credibility of Ghana cannot be subject to unilateral experiments. Parliament must and shall intervene. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's economy is gasping. Statutory funds such as the District Assembly's Common Fund have been starved, crippling essential services and suffocating our metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Contractors across the country have abandoned critical infrastructure projects. Roads remain half-built, bridges incomplete, schools and hospitals stalled, because the government has simply refused to honor its obligation. Businesses are hurting. Citizens are stranded. Meanwhile, as the nation reels, the president recently departed the country without the basic courtesy or constitutional obligation of ensuring that executive authority was properly transferred to the Speaker of Parliament in his absence. A power vacuum was created at the very top, not by accident, but by design. It is a gross dereliction of constitutional duty. Security across the country has deteriorated. Armed robbery and murders have become the order of the day. Ghanaians sleep with one eye open, while their government appears blind to their fears. Mr. Speaker, recent media revelations have cast an unfortunate shadow on this House. Allegations of questionable payments made to members of Parliament for legislative work must not be swept under the rug. If this House is to maintain its integrity, then transparency must be our shield and accountability our sword. On the energy front, let the records reflect Doomsaw is back, and it has returned with viciousness that reminds Ghanaians of our darkest power crisis. Under President Mahama's second coming, the lights are off. The people are suffering, and the economy is bleeding. The pain doesn't stop there. The Ghana city has seen recent signs of appreciation, but prices remain stubbornly high, particularly in shipping and transportation. Many major operators are still quoting dollars that defy the Bank of Ghana's official benchmarks. Who protects the Ghanaian consumer from this brazen exploitation? Certainly not this government. Mr. Speaker, our cities are choking, literally. Waste from homes and industries lies unattended as the government fumbles over sanitation contracts. The garbage does not care for bureaucracy. It piles up, breeding disease, disgust, and despair. Floods have already killed at least 5 people, displaced 3,000, and destroyed properties worth millions. The rains have not yet peaked. Where is the National Emergency Response Plan? Where is leadership? But while we speak of water rising in cities, let us not forget the tragedy unfolding along our coastline. In the Ketu South, Kata and Anglong constituencies, the sea continues to violently reclaim entire communities. In Amuchuni, in the Ketu South constituency, for example, the town is being alarmingly washed away by tidal waves. Families have been rendered homeless, livelihoods have been shattered, and many citizens have lost everything they once worked for. This is a humanitarian emergency, and it is inexcusable that government actions has not matched the scale of the devastation. We demand immediate and sustained action beyond the mere presidential photo op to complete and extend the sea defense walls. Anything less is a cruel betrayal of our coastal citizens. In our schools, law and order are collapsing. Reports of students attacking teachers and each other, some with offensive weapons, are alarming. NAGRAT, in a desperate cry for protection, has served notice that its members may begin carrying weapons to school. Mr. Speaker, if teachers must be armed to feel safe, then the government has failed. Full stop. President Mahama's much touted Mahama Cares initiative must also be brought to account. How much has it been raised? How has it been spent? In a democracy, benevolence does not exempt one from scrutiny. More troubling still is the President's response to violation of the assets declaration regime by his appointees. Rather than refer them to SHRAC, as the law requires, he chose to pressure them into donating 4 months of their salaries to the Mahama Care Fund. This is not charity. It is a blatant breach of Constitution. No president has the power to substitute lawful sanctions with presidential pet projects. Mr. Speaker, We must also address the scandal of the presidential jet. Despite a fully functional jet inherited from the previous administration, the president continues to travel aboard his brother's private aircraft. The vice president was recently flown home on a private charter, once again snubbing the state's own jets. If these flights are gifts, they violate the president's own code of conduct of ethics. If they are paid for by the state, let the receipts be published. If they are paid for by Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, then the country deserves to know what is he getting in return. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commission must immediately declare the results of Ablekuma North parliamentary contest. 5 months since 2024 election, the people remain without representation. Even though credible evidence suggests that the NPP candidate won, the EC must be supported with security, but they must not be allowed to delay democracy. As for promises made, we are watching. The president assured Ghanaians that the COVID-19 levy and other punitive taxes would be repealed. We await action. We also demand a bold, decisive declaration of an emergency to tackle illegal mining, which has surged under this administration. Mr. Speaker, fellow Ghanaians, Parliament is not a ceremonial gathering of elites. It is the living expression of the sovereign will of the Ghanaian people. When judicial independence is threatened, when power is used to terrorize citizens, and when the executive flouts the Constitution with impunity, this House has a duty, not a choice, to rise in defense of the Republic. To remain silent or neutral is to betray our oath of office and to signal complicity in constitutional subversion. Parliament must therefore assert itself with clarity and courage, now and not later. This House must no longer serve merely as a conveyor belt for executive business. We must become the firewall between democratic survival and authoritarian drift. Ghana's parliament was designed to check, not cheer, the president, the executive. That design is being dismantled before our very eyes. When the president circumvents SHRA, undermines asset declaration laws, and creates parallel justice system through political donations, Parliament must not look away. We must speak with one voice and demand that the rule of law, not rule by discretion, governs the Republic. We in the minority may stand in numbers that pale in the shadows of the enormous. But let it be known and let it echo from the chamber to every corner of the nation. We will not cower before the force of the majority. We will not be bullied into submission. We will continue to lead the charge. Resolute, principled, and unwavering in every committee. on every floor and before every tribunal of public opinion. We serve as the Republic constitutional firewall, and we will not permit the perversion of our democracy under the government to go unchallenged. Parliament must also reclaim its power of oversight. We must establish and enforce rigorous accountability mechanisms to track statutory funds, presidential travel, donation under the Mahama Care initiatives, and all actions taken under the guise of public interest. Where there is opacity, we must shine a light. Where there is impunity, we must demand redress. It is not enough to ask questions. We must insist on answers. Our committees must be empowered. Our debates must be sharper, and our resolution must have teeth. Finally, let us remember that the legitimacy of this House is tied to the confidence of the people. If we fail to act when the judiciary is under siege, when lives are lost in floods, when teachers are forced to arm themselves, or when public service collapse under unpaid debt, then we risk becoming irrelevant to the very people we serve. Let this session of Parliament rise to meet the moment. The time for caution has passed. The hour of constitutional vigilance is now. For emphasis, Mr. Speaker, this Parliament must not be a footnote in the story of Ghana's democratic decline. We must rise, speak, act, and where necessary, resist. The President and his government must assume responsibility. The days of deflections are over. The season for accountability is here. Let us not fail the people. Mr. Speaker, before resuming my seat, let me take this moment to warmly welcome all colleagues back from the recess. I trust we return refreshed, re-energized, and resolute in our shared responsibility to uphold the trust, the public trust. I also extend our sincere appreciation to the media for their continued dedication to covering the work of the House. Their tireless efforts help ensure transparency, accountability, and well-informed citizenry, pillars upon which any thriving democracy must stand. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable members, honorable members, before I permit the majority leader to make his opening remarks, let me recognize the presence of some visitors. We have a delegation from the Parliament of the Gambia, made up of members of the Standing Committee on Defense and Security. They are here on a study visit and have the pleasure to introduce them to you and to call on all of you to give them your support and cooperation, because their visit is for benchmarking under the GIZ ECOWAS Peace Security Governance Project. Our visitors are Honorable Samba Jellu, Vice Chairperson and leader of the delegation. Honorable Muhammad Kante, Esquire, member. Honorable Sankun Damper, member. Honorable Almami Giba, member. Honorable Yahaya Sanyang Esquire, member. Honorable Abdusoy, member. Honorable Ebrima Jaiti, member. Honorable Mfali Kora, member. Honorable Omar Darbo, member. Honorable Musa Baji, member. And they have the Director of Committees, Mr. Marabi Haidara, and a research officer in the person of Miss Mary Mendy. They also have the clerk to the committee, Miss Alari Gillane, and also an ICT officer, Al-Haji M. Cham. Honorable members, the delegation is accompanied by officials from GIZ. They are the technical advisor, GIZ Nigeria and ECOWAS, Mr. Pansao Nyasi. The technical advisor, Ms. Lydia Yamwa Hagan, PhD. And administrative specialist of GIZ Ghana, Ms. Wendy Odamte. Honorable members, on your behalf and on behalf of the House, I welcome the delegation to Parliament and I wish them fruitful deliberations. We also have the presence of our children from various schools. We have students from Zenu KKMA 6 Primary School, led by Felicity Aka. That's the headmistress. And this school is located in Pung, Katamanso. There are 94 students who are here to observe and listen to you conduct your business. Please, you are welcome. You may resume your seats. We also have students from Bawaleshi KKMA Junior High School, led by the teacher, Dennis Day. The school is also located at Pong Katamanso Municipality. They are 49 in number. Please, you are welcome. You may also resume your seat. And the last is the School for the Deaf, Senior High Technical School, led by the headmistress, Philomena Kakra Bachman. The school is located in the Akwapim North constituency, and they are 100 in number. Honorable members, you can see how the young ones have taken our business seriously, and they want to be present to see for themselves, watch how you conduct yourselves as leaders. Whether you are good examples or you are rejects, they will decide that, not you. So on your behalf, I also welcome them, and please, you may resume your seats. Thank you very much for coming. Now, Majority Leader, it's your turn.
Right Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, it is with a deep sense of responsibility and commitment to our democratic ideals that I stand before this august House to join the Right Honorable Speaker and my colleague, Deputy Minority Leader, to open the second meeting of the Night Parliament of the Fourth Republic of Ghana. This meeting is taking place during a pivotal moment in our nation's history, a time of renewed optimism under the dynamic leadership of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government. His visionary governance has restored faith in our democratic institutions, reinvigorated our national spirit, positioned Ghana as Africa's shining beacon of progress. Mr. Speaker, the transformation is palpable across every sector of society. Our market women now trade with renewed vigor. Educators stand proud in their profession. Farmers embrace their vital role with assurance. Students pursue knowledge with greater determination. The business community operates with restored confidence. Even political opponents like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have been inspired by this new wave of renewed optimism. Beyond our borders, Africa looks to Ghana as a model of democratic renewal and economic resurgence. Our remarkable economic recovery has become the subject of continental admiration, signaling Ghana's return to its rightful place as a leader among nations. This is more than mere political change. It is a national awakening that promises to carry Ghana to new heights of prosperity and influence. Right Honorable Speaker, I am proud to say that This renewed hope of the ordinary Ghanaian is the result of the work that we did during the inaugural sitting of Parliament. During those 42 inaugural sittings of this Parliament, which spanned 11 weeks, and despite an overwhelming presence of many newly elected members of Parliament, the House achieved an unprecedented feat. We swiftly passed 11 critical bills to implement the critical promises made by the NDC to reset the Ghanaian economy. The obnoxious electronic levy was done away with, and so was the carbon emission levy. We repealed taxes on lottery winnings and the 1.5 withholding tax on unprocessed gold from small-scale miners. We removed the VAT on motor vehicle insurance policies. We increased the levy on gold mining companies from 1 to 3% of gross production and extended the levy sunset to 2028. We removed or raised caps on certain statutory funds to allow full allocation to priority sectors. So Ghana Education Trust Fund got more money for education. National Health Insurance Fund got more money for healthcare delivery. And Road Fund received 100% of their due allocations to better support road projects. I vividly recall the unwavering commitment demonstrated by honorable members of this House, who sacrificed sleep and personal comfort to work tirelessly through the night in this very chamber. Their dedication bore fruits in two critical legislative achievements: the establishment of the Ghana Gold Board, a landmark institution that has brought much needed regulation to our nation's gold industry; the timely passage of the appropriation bill, a crucial piece of legislation that not only authorized government expenditure but also guaranteed a seamless financial transition during the delicate period following the election of a new administration. These examples stand a powerful reminder of Parliament's essential role in safeguarding our nation's economic stability and democratic processes. When duty calls, this House has consistently risen to the occasion, putting national interests above all else. The meteoric vetting and approval of all 56 ministerial and deputy ministerial nominees saw the fastest setting up of government by any democratically elected president inaugurated under the Fourth Republic. Even before new and young MPs could settle in their seats, they started asking questions and raising issues affecting the lives of their constituents. 170 motions were moved and adopted. Newly approved ministers responded to 41 questions. Members and ministers delivered 90 statements on critical national and constituency matters. The House held 82 committee sittings. Because of all the policies, legislation, and quality of leadership installed by this House, in our first sitting, Ghana is being reset again. We have engineered one of the strongest currency rebounds in recent financial history. The numbers speak for themselves. 21% appreciation against the US dollar, 16% against the UK pound, 41% strengthening versus the euro, where $1 traded 14 a few months ago. Today it exchanges at just over 10.94 Ghana cedis. This isn't just statistics. It is translating into real relief for Ghanaian families. The strong showing of our Ghana cedi is resulting in significant reductions in fuel prices, in commodity prices, in food prices, and in the prices of general goods and services. Right, Honorable Speaker, there is a new force and a new myth in the management of our economy and finances. It is called forcenomics. This House must support our indefatigable Finance Minister and former leader of this House, Honorable Kesal Atuba Forson, to continue along the lines of fiscal prudence and his dogged pursuit of appreciating the Ghana cedi, reducing inflation and prices, reducing interest rates, and revitalizing our private sector, renewing hope in the Ghanaian. While many challenges remain, this sitting will focus on pursuing fiscal prudence, economic consolidation, the private sector revitalization to strengthen Ghana's financial stability and growth. It is in our agenda to receive the mid-year review of our budget. Members recall that this House approved a common fund formula that demanded that 80% of the fund should be sent directly to the assemblies. The Finance Minister will bring an urgent statement on the guidelines to govern the utilization of the funds. He will also make other far-reaching statements on the financial sector. A bill to convert the Ghana Investment Promotion Center to the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority will be presented to the House. A Ghana Deposit Protection Amendment Bill will be laid to enhance the existing legal framework and to meet international standards and to better protect depositors. Greater clarity to our exemptions regime will be seen in an exemptions amendment bill. Several bills and regulations in the financial sector are in the works and will soon find their way to this House. They include a customs amendment bill, an income tax amendment bill, a private-public partnership regulation, fees and charges miscellaneous provisions amendment regulations, revenue administration amendment regulations, and an exemptions regulations. Other requests will be made of this House to pass economic agreements, loan agreements, tax and duty waivers, and the consideration of statutory reports. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, the new doing of accountability, is busy preparing prosecutions of massive looting of public funds under the SWAL MPP regime. Even as he is busy in this regard, Honorable Dr. Dominic Ayine will bring to this House a new Conduct of Public Officers Bill, a Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Amendment Bill, Economic and Organized Crime Office Bill, Ghana Industrial Property Office Bill, Interstate Succession Bill, Legal Education Reform Bill, Legal Profession Bill, Notaries Public Amendment Bill, Presidential Transition Amendment Bill, State Property and Contract Amendment Bill, and a new Tribunals Bill. By the time we finish passing these bills, the legal architecture of Ghana would have received a significant overhaul. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Attorney General will also introduce several subsidiary legislation. They include the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Regulations, the Court of Appeal Rules, Economic and Organized Crime Office Operations Regulations, Economic and Organized Crime Office Terms and Conditions of Service Regulations, High Court Civil Procedure Amendment Rules, Interpretation Regulations, Judicial Service Terms and Conditions of Service Regulations, Legal Aid Commission Regulations, Supreme Court Rules, and very significantly, removal from office of Justices of the Supreme Court Rules. The President, John Dramani Mahama, is determined to fast-track legislative reforms to strengthen our institutions of governance and further entrench our democracy. The President is committed to legislative clarity with transparency when it comes to the constitutional mechanics of the removal of justices of the superior courts. The Minister for Education, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, will bring to this House a Scholarships Authority Bill, a University for Development Studies Bill, a Ghana Book Development Council Bill, a University of Engineering and Agricultural Science Bonsu Bill, and an amendment to the Colleges of Education Act. Pursuant to Education Regulatory Bodies Act, the Education Minister will submit for approval by the House a number of legislative instruments related to the National Teaching Council, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, the National School Inspectorate Authority, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Right, Honorable Speaker, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection will bring before us a social protection bill a Child Justice Amendment Bill, a bill to amend the existing Domestic Violence Act, an LI for the Social Protection Bill, and an LI for the Affirmative Action Act of 2024. Honorable Emmanuel Amakofubua is expected to present a bill to review the Minerals and Mining Act, submit all mining leases for consideration for ratification by this House. This House sends the clear signal that it will no longer tolerate the practice of major mining undertakings occurring without valid parliamentary approval political proposals to this House aim at transforming Ghana's energy sector. Petroleum sector development will see proposals seeking ratification of a petroleum agreement involving GNPC, Exploco, and TriStar Upstream Oil and Gas Limited. He is proposing measures to facilitate over $4 billion investments in that sector. He will introduce legislation to restructure the Ghana Petroleum Commission and the PURC. Regulatory framework for modernization will be proposed by the minister. He is proposing to repeal and reenact the National Petroleum Authority Act. He will present a Nuclear Power Corporation Bill to establish a regulatory framework for nuclear energy development in Ghana. And he will submit a Renewable Energy Authority Bill to promote renewable energy initiatives in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the efforts to reform the energy distribution sector, Mr. Speaker, the electricity distribution, he will seek parliamentary approvals when necessary to implement the multiple lease model in electricity distribution. He is also proposing legislation to realign the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission's mandate. This ambitious institutional transformation agenda requires robust legislative backing. In addition to these executive bills, several private members' bills are being finalized and will be introduced during this sitting. Mr. Speaker, some of the ministers are yet to present to us their proposed legislative programs in this meeting. Mr. Speaker, the President in February appeared before this House and delivered his first message on the state of the nation to the Ghanaian public since assuming office on January 7th. A resounding theme of the message included the collapse of our institutions of democracy, our state-owned enterprises and corporations, and unbridled corruption. Right Honourable Speaker, during this sitting, the Majority Caucus will spearhead a rigorous pursuit of accountability in Ghana's public financial management. We will demand a full-scale parliamentary investigation into the handling of COVID-19 expenditures to ensure transparency in how emergency funds were utilized. Additionally, this House will revisit the unresolved Ajapa royalties deal and require a detailed update on the 190 million PDS scandal, a case of alleged fraud in power distribution that cost Ghana dearly under the previous administration. Furthermore, we will launch a comprehensive inquiry into the rampant sole sourcing practices of the past government, exposing how recklessness in contracting bled the nation's coffers while enriching a select few politically connected individuals. We will also summon Operation Recover All Loot, ORA, for briefings, particularly on the 36 financial cases worth over 20 billion United States dollars, including land-related fraud amounting to over 700 million United States dollars. The gravest danger to our democracy is impunity. If we fail to hold those responsible for this brazen plunder of public resources accountable, we betray the trust of every Ghanaian who demands justice. This House will ensure that the era of financial recklessness is met with certain and unwavering consequences. In the course of the last sitting, it emerged that some containers got missing at the Tema port, and further investigations revealed massive cases of reckless procurement at the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. The Minister of Energy promised this House a thorough investigation. We are waiting to be briefed on how far perpetrators have been held accountable. This Parliament must live up to its mandate as the House of Accountability. Right Honourable Speaker, the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Kwesi Esiama, appeared before this House Committee of the Whole to provide critical clarifications on the controversial construction of the new central bank headquarters known as the Bank Square. What began as an $81.8 million project under the previous administration ballooned to an outstanding $250 million. A reckless expenditure at a time when Ghana's dire financial crisis had pushed the nation to an IMF bailout. Shockingly, it was revealed that $11.1 million was spent on furniture alone, despite the building remaining incomplete and unsafe for occupation. This House will thoroughly investigate this matter during the current sitting to ensure accountability and justice. The hard-working citizens of Ghana who took to the streets in protest against such blatant mismanagement of public funds deserve answers. Their voices must not be ignored. And their sacrifices must not be in vain. We will seek regular briefings from the Minister for Justice and Attorney General regarding ongoing investigations and prosecutions. The Special Prosecutor will be held to strict account for his mandate as well. Parliamentary committee hearings, similar to the United States Senate, will seek to unravel structural institutional defects that promote corruption and maladministration in our country. I want to assure the President that the Majority Caucus, to be recalled, that on the 4th of February, during a discussion on the 60th anniversary of the death of J.B. Dankwa, a voice from the backbench of the members of the MPP made an unsavory comment directed at a female colleague in this House. The voice was roundly condemned, despite some shameful efforts to equalize. The Right Honourable Speaker gave a one-week ultimatum to the maker of the statement to own up. That has not happened. We on the majority side will not leave the matter unresolved. The majority caucus will demand that all the MPP members of the backbench who were sitting in the direction where the unsavory statement came from should be referred to the Privileges Committee for investigation of a concert to breach the privileges of a member. The NDC Majority Caucus repeat our condemnation The NDC Majority Caucus repeat our condemnation of the unsavory comment made on this floor and regrets the incident as the lowest point in the life of this House in the last sitting. Right Honourable Speaker, the recess period was highly productive, as nearly all House committees either conducted oversight visits to their respective institutions and agencies, or participated in capacity building seminars and workshops to strengthen their effectiveness. I am confident that our committees are now better equipped and fully prepared for the tasks ahead. The future of our democracy in our hands. While free elections and peaceful transitions are fundamental to democracy, it to visit all independent constitutional bodies, ensuring we remain fully informed of their operations, circumstances, conditions, and problems. Sanitation Committee Chairman and his team inspected key sanitation installations, engaged with local assemblies, while the Local Government Committee conducted an in-depth monitoring visit to the integrated recycling and compost plant facilities in the OT and Volta regions, evaluating waste management infrastructure and operational efficiency. I eagerly await committee hearings to address key findings from these visits. Additionally, the Gender and Social Protection Committee conducted welfare assessments at vulnerable care centers, including City of Refuge Ministries, HD Presence Orphanage, and Save Them Young Orphanage, ensuring the needs of our most marginalized citizens are addressed. All committees are expected to submit detailed reports of their research activities for the House's consideration. I am pleased to note that these efforts have not gone unnoticed. I have received numerous public commendations for the hard work and commitment displayed by our committees during this period. Looking ahead, Mr. Speaker, as we begin our second meeting, our mandate remains clear: to prioritize economic recovery, strengthen social protection, enhance security, and improve governance through targeted legislation. The Ghanaian people expect us to work with urgency and unity to address pressing issues such as youth unemployment, further reducing cost of living, assessing access to affordable housing and reliable utility services, and better infrastructure. As representatives of the people, we are reminded of our sacred duty to uphold the Constitution, advance good governance, and work tirelessly to improve the lives of all Ghanaians. The legislative agenda before us is both ambitious and essential, covering economic recovery, social development, security, constitutional reforms that will shape the future of our nations. The Majority Caucus remains resolute in its commitment to constructive and bipartisan engagement, ensuring that the business of Parliament is conducted with integrity, transparency, and the utmost respect for democratic principles. We recognize that the strength of our democracy lies in robust debate, consensus building, and the pursuit of the common good. I urge all honorable members to approach our deliberations during this meeting with diligence, fairness, firmness, and a shared sense of purpose. Let us rise above partisan divide and focus on legislation that will promote job creation, economic stability, sustainable development, and the public good. Together, we have both the power and the responsibility to honor the trust bestowed upon us by the people, and through our actions, we will drive meaningful progress for our beloved nation. May God bless our deliberations, and may God bless Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, we have all listened to our leaders. It's now time to listen to me. Honorable members, it is with a deep sense of honor and responsibility that I heartily, warmly welcome you to the second meeting of the first session of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. While the recess afforded us the opportunity to engage the global parliamentary community in statutory conferences of networking, experiential learning, parliamentary relations, and diplomacy, I trust the recess has been restorative and afforded honorable members the time and space to engage with constituents and reflect on the onerous responsibilities ahead of us during this meeting. We are grateful to the Almighty God for His protection over our lives and for keeping us safe during the period of the recess. I must acknowledge that while the House was on recess, almost all committees were actively engaged on monitoring and oversight field visits or capacity building activities. Notably, the Committee on Human Rights visited the Nsawam Medium Security Prison to assess the general condition of the facilities, engage with prison authorities, and interact with the inmates. Similarly, the Committee on Local Government conducted visits to the integrated recycling and compost plants in OT and Volta regions, with the objective of assessing and monitoring the operations of these plants, which are fundamental to addressing the pressing hygiene and sanitation challenges facing this nation. In addition, other committees, including the Committee on Roads and Transport, the Committee on Education, the Committee on Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, as well as the Committee on Security and Intelligence, engage themselves in various capacity building, oversight, and stakeholder activities to advance the work of the House. These efforts are commendable. They are commendable exhibition of honorable members' dedication to duty and exemplify Parliament's unwavering commitment to ensuring that governance and service delivery are held to the highest standards. During the course of this meeting, we look forward to receiving reports on the activities of the various committees for the consideration of the House. I must remind the House, however, that a number of referrals made to committees during the first meeting are yet to be reported on. Given the tall list of business before us in the course of this meeting, it is expected that committee work will intensify. I therefore urge chairpersons and members of committees to pay prompt attention to all referrals to ensure timely submission of reports and swift action on matters brought before the House. Honorable members, we resume today with a full schedule ahead. The term runs till the end of July, or on exceptional circumstances, end of the first week of August. I think this is sufficient notice to all, particularly the executive arm of government. But it is long enough to make meaningful progress if we approach our work with seriousness. I call on leadership of the House to ensure that programming of business is timely, strategic, and consistent. Time is a public resource. We must not waste it. Let me take the opportunity to highlight a few of the items listed in the draft agenda for this meeting. I will not go through all what the leaders have mentioned, but please, we have one at committee, the Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill 2025. 3 private members bill, the Property Rights of Spouses Bill 2025, Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Bill 2025, and the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2025 have completed the processes as required by the standing orders and are expected to be presented for the first reading during the course of this meeting. We also expect to lay for consideration of the House the Corporate Insolvency and Restructuring Regulations 2025. So far, "17 papers are ready to be presented to the House for consideration. But I must hasten to add that the House is yet to receive the full list of proposed business from the government. Members' business, as you all know, will come as they are ready and admitted by me. We also have 4 reports that are pending before committees. We further expect to tackle the reports of our 2 ad hoc committees. The report on the ad hoc committee established to investigate the violent disorder that characterized the meetings of the Appointments Committee on Thursday, 30th and Friday, 31st January 2025. And the report of the ad hoc committee on the design of a pension scheme for members of Parliament. Honorable members, added to these are the Ada Songo Lagoon salt mining challenges and the unparliamentary comment of a member on the Honorable Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings. Honorable members, as you recall, I was not the one on the chair. In fact, I was out of the jurisdiction of this country when it happened. The investigations are still not concluded. But to be frank with you, I am very disappointed with all of you that a member seated in this House with all colleagues around and no single colleague can pinpoint to the member who uttered those words. Even those of you sitting together, the 3 of you that have been identified, the zone is on the tray. Get this notice. Majority members, with your numbers watching the minority, you are telling me that none of you can identify the person who spoke. The person, honorable members, please, the person spoke not once, but twice. The minority leader on his feet turned to look in that direction. And none of you can identify the person who spoke. I'm very disappointed. What is even shocking, with all the cameras and the CCTV, none could capture the person who spoke. Honorable members, these are serious matters. And when they are properly brought to me, I take action. Shouts, noise will not compel me to take action. You know what to do. Please, I am voicing out my feelings. I'm really very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. So far as this matter is concerned. Because it can happen to any of you. It's just that many of you don't know your history. That is why you are behaving this way. Please, we must take our business seriously. We must respect each other. We must work together as members of the same family. Please, you are here today. Ask your colleagues who were here and are outside now. They will share their experiences with you. With this, honorable members, the report will come and action will be taken in this matter. From the way I'm speaking, you can be sure that I'll go all the full length to implement the law. Please, honorable members, committee calendars must be honored. Reports must be completed, not shelved. Every committee chair has a duty to ensure that his or her committee meets, deliberates, and delivers on deadlines. These are not optional duties. They are the mandatory constitutional functions we have all sworn to perform. Let me particularly refer to Article 106, subclause 14, which is mandatory on public bills and must be adhered to the letter. It says, a bill introduced in Parliament by or on behalf of the President shall not be delayed for more than 3 months in any committee of Parliament. We have not been following this rule. It's a constitutional order, and we have to comply with it. Honorable members, as a chamber painstakingly built on a rich cultural and historical legacy, Parliament stands as one of the most impregnable pillars of Ghana's democracy. Our resilience, vigilance, and the choices we make within these walls, will either sustain or flourish this time-tested democracy or derail it. The House is where power is legitimately held to hold persons endowed with the trust of our people to account, where policy is examined and scrutinized, where the views, interests, and hopes of our constituents find structured expression. Our routine assemblage of plenary sessions in this House must not be mere formalities. We are here as an equal partner of the executive. And I repeat, we are here as an equal partner of the executive to govern the people in accordance with the Constitution and the sovereign will of the people. Honorable members, as you can all attest to, the times and the context in which we operate are challenging. Nevertheless, the people of Ghana look up to this parliament for leadership that is ethical, purposeful, and proactive. A leadership that inspires confidence and hope. A leadership that justifies the trust and investment of the people. This parliament sits in the nation grappling with economic pressures, social tensions, and legitimate worries about whether public institutions, including parliament, are meeting the expectations of the people. Across the country, citizens are paying close attention to our acts of commission and omission. They are watching our every step, not out of mere curiosity, but because they know that the decisions taken here affect livelihoods, determine the rate of development, and the future of our nation. This meeting, therefore, presents another important opportunity for us to advance key legislative business, engage in constructive deliberations on pressing national issues, and ensure that government implements its programs and policies within the tenets of openness, transparency, accountability, and responsiveness, all to the benefit of the citizenry. We cannot meet the expectations of our people with theatrics aimed at distracting or delays aimed at derailing the business of the House. We can only fulfill the aspirations of the expectant nation with rigor, a clear sense of urgency and purpose. Duty calls, and we must respond promptly. Honorable members, this leads me to some happenings that saddened me greatly during the last meeting. Let me be blunt. Some conduct witnessed in the course of the first meeting of the session fell far below the standard, dignity, and honor of a democratic legislature. I am referring to those moments of violent disorder, disgrace, and dishonor that brought the name of the House into disrepute and discredited members in the eyes of right-thinking Ghanaians who look up to Parliament for exemplary leadership. Such incidents of misconduct and distraction are unbecoming of honorable members and must not be repeated. I repeat, must not be repeated. This is a House which operates on ethics, values, rules, and laws that are neither ornamental nor discretionary. They exist to safeguard order, engender free speech, indecency, and responsibility, and preserve fairness and inclusivity. Our rules were promulgated to ensure that debates, no matter how spirited, remain decorous. When rules are ignored and tempers override reason, we do not merely undermine each other, we degrade and undermine Parliament itself. This chamber must be a model of public service, not a theater for showmanship. Debates must be firm but civil. Differences must be handled with principle and reason, not violence and emotion. The people expect intelligence, not insults. They expect substance, not spectacle. Let me be unambiguous again. No misconduct or crime will go unpunished. Members must conduct themselves with dignity. The business of this House is too important to be derailed by conduct that serves no public purpose. It is worth repeating what I've said before. The honeymoon with the rules is over. The deputy speakers and I will be stricter in the enforcement of the standing orders. We will not allow disorder, absenteeism, or procedural shortcuts to become the norm. Those who wish to be heard must first be present. Those who seek the floor must respect the House. Those who want to catch the eye of the Speaker must be disciplined, decent, and honorable. There is still time for this Parliament to raise its standing and strengthen its legacy. But it will not happen by mere whimsical wish. It will require discipline, presence, preparation, and respect for procedure. These are the pillars of an effective legislature. To our new colleagues, the first timers, let me speak without any equivocation. It is easy to be caught up in the visibility of the chamber, the cameras, the headlines, the drama of plenary. But the real test of your effectiveness lies backstage in your committee work. It is in committee rooms, away from the spotlight, that legislation is sharpened, oversight is enforced, and the real work of Parliament is executed. Committee participation is foundational to all we do here. I encourage you to throw yourself into the work of the House with focus and humility. Learn the rules, join the debates, attend your committee meetings, ask the hard questions, speak up for your constituents, and do not mistake noise for impact. The real work will not always make the news headlines, but it will always make a difference. I equally urge the veterans who are here to devote themselves to committee work. We cannot afford to have committees that are dormant, nor members who treat committee work as second fiddle to other endeavors. A parliament is only as strong as the strength of his committees. So in spite of the fact that each of you has a seat here, by virtue of your constituents' mandate, you cannot prioritize these demands above committee work or other parliamentary duties. That is why we have recess, where we recede to now focus on that business, not plenary sessions. The same applies to follow through. Too often, referrals which are made to committee are not dealt with expeditiously. This will not be tolerated again. I urge chairmen and members of committee to ensure that referrals are acted on promptly, that reports are submitted within time, and that recommendations are not left in limbo. This House must not be seen as a talk shop, but more importantly, it should be felt as a dependable and responsive body. Honorable members, I also want to recall the public mood. Ghanaians are watching this House with a mixture of hope and doubt. They want to believe in Parliament. However, they are wary of years of unmet expectations. They expect Parliament to function not as an echo chamber of partisan interests, but as a space where issues are confronted with clarity and courage. If we do not rise to this moment, if we allow pettiness to crowd our principle, we would have failed the expectant public. Ultimately, if Parliament falters, democracy suffers. It is that simple. Honorable members, permit me to address a matter that has weighed heavily in recent months. There has been a noticeable increase in the number of official communications from law enforcement and investigative bodies directed at this House. These requests, many of which relate to the conduct of members, must be treated with the seriousness they deserve. Some of these matters relate to allegations arising before those accused became members of this House. Others, regrettably, concern conduct alleged to have taken place while members are in the House. Either way, they raise questions that touch directly on the standing of this institution and the public perception of our collective integrity. Let me sound this loud and clear. Parliamentary privilege is not immunity from lawful inquiry. It is not a license to disregard the law. The immunities granted to the House and its members are designed to protect the independence of the legislature, not to obstruct justice. These provisions are institutional safeguards. They were never intended as escape routes for honorable members. Where allegations are raised, due processes must take their course. Our position and my position on this is unnegotiable. Parliament will not stand by while members are subjected to unlawful or politically motivated persecution. I've been an opposition leader for 8 years. I know what I'm talking about. But neither will Parliament offer protection to those who seek to misuse its privileges to frustrate legitimate investigations. I will not shelter anybody here in that direction. I remain committed to fully upholding the constitutional and procedural protections afforded to every member of this House. The dignity of Parliament requires that its rules and privileges be respected, but it also requires that we do not mistake privilege for impunity. No member can act as though the confidence of the electorate is a shield against scrutiny. Privilege is not impunity. Immunity is not invincibility. The law binds us all, and the law is the law is the law. Those who said, and the law is the law, did not complete the sentence. The law is the law is the law. That is the sentence. As we commence this meeting, let us, as we've been told by your leaders, rededicate ourselves to the work ahead with patriotism, unity of purpose, and collective resolve to secure the interests of the nation, always bearing in mind our solemn duty to the people of Ghana. To all honorable members, I extend my best wishes for a productive meeting. There's much to be done, and the public expects much from us. Let us give them reason to believe in this House. Let Ghana continue to be the oasis of peace and the model of democracy. Let this House show that it is the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic and the best of all. May the good Lord guide our utterances, our actions, and deeds. May He lead us through a productive second meeting of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. I thank you for your keen attention, and may we have a fruitful and impactful meeting. Thank you all. Else, I wait for the First Deputy Speaker to take the chair. We now have on the agenda correction of votes and proceedings. What I have is the correction of votes of Saturday, 29th March 2025. I'm sure you've gone through it. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 6. Yes, Honourable Member.
Page 7, Honourable Right Honourable Speaker.
Yes.
Area 18 of page 7. I was classified as absent, but I was absent with permission. That's Area 18. Colonel Kwadudamo, German South.
Colonel, who gave you the permission?
I routed it through our leadership to your office.
And you got a written permission from the Speaker?
I inquired and I was told yes.
You inquired from who?
Through my leadership.
Your leadership might have misled you. Many of you submit your request and assume that it will be granted. Even your leaders may recommend it, but they may later disrecommend. The Speaker is not a robot. He has the discretion. Your leaders could recommend it, but the Speaker could deny you that permission. Please, always give enough notice, wait and get the permission in writing before you absent yourself. As I mentioned, we are going to take it serious, and from last meeting, the records will give us the guidance. But I've taken notice of that, and Table Office kindly cross-check and do the proper thing. Page
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
8, page 9, page 10, page 11. Sorry, page 10.
Mr. Speaker, page 10.
Yes.
Just a paragraph attributed to the minority leader. He just didn't thank the parliamentary service, but the parliamentary press corps in the last, sorry, that's 13, thank you, 13.
That's page 13.
Thank you.
Honourable members, page 11, page 12, page 13. Yes, now.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, that paragraph should read, he thanks staff of the parliamentary service and the press corps. Thank you.
Table Office, kindly take note of that. Page 14.
Mr. Speaker, 14, if
Yes.
you have no objection, line 3. Right Honourable Speaker expressed gratitude to all members for their dedication and commitment during the first meeting of the first session of the 9th plan. He highlighted the significant achievements, including the swearing in of the president-elect. Conspicuously lost is the swearing in of MPs and Parliament itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, Table Office, take note and complete the actions that were taken those days. Yes, please.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. The same page 14, Roman numeral 3, the very first line. The Right Honourable Speaker of. I think there is Parliament missing over there. Thank you very much.
Yes, you have an eagle eye. Thank you so much. Yes, honorable members, page 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, yes, 48.
Speaker, respectfully, item number 3 on page 48. 3I. Respectfully, the appropriate thing to do is to record the name of Dominic Akuritinga Ayini into bracket doctor. We don't have to bring a Mr. and add doctor again. When the person has a doctorate, you don't add a Mr. Then that should also go for 3II. Mr. Justice Remsai. It should be Dr. Justice Remsai or Justice Remsai into bracket doctor. I thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, table office kindly take note, and also take note that these days those with PhD don't write DR. They write the name and end it with PhD. That is the current practice now. Page 49, page 50, page 51, page 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Saturday, 29th March 2025 are hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. First Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Honourable members, correction of official reports. Honourable members, official report dated Tuesday, 18th March 2025, under correction. Honourable members, those standing, kindly resume your seat. We are looking at the official report of Tuesday, 18th March 2025. Honourable members, in the absence of any correction, the official report of Tuesday, 18th March 2025 is hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honourable members, we also have official report of Wednesday, 19th March 2025. And it is for your corrections. Honorable Brahma, kindly take your seat. Honourable members, in the absence of any corrections, the official report of Wednesday, 19th March 2025 is hereby ordered as the true record of proceedings. Honourable members, the official report of Thursday, 20th March 2025 is under correction. Honourable members, in the absence of any correction, the official report of Thursday, 20th March 2025 is hereby adopted as the true record of proceedings. Yes, Majority Leader. Honourable members, business statement.
Right Honorable Speaker, your committee met today, 27th May 2025, to arrange the business of the House for the week ending Friday, 30th May 2025. The Speaker, the committee proposes that you may read any available communication to the House communicated through you. Pursuant to Order 91-2, Ministers of State may be permitted to make statements on government policy. Honorable members may also make statements admitted by your good self. Under Order 159, bills may be presented to the House for first reading. Those of an urgent nature may be taken through the various stages in a day in accordance with Order 160. Pursuant to Order 97, papers may be laid during the week, and reports from committees may also be presented to the House for consideration. Motions may be debated, and there are consequential resolutions, if any, taken. The Speaker, the committee welcomes all members back from recess. Second meeting is expected to be demanding. Members are urged to make themselves available. There are many significant businesses, including the mid-year fiscal review of the 2025 budget statement and economic policy of the government, which is expected to be presented to the House for consideration. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, in accordance with Order 2162 and subject to Order 67, the committee submits to the House the order in which the business of the House shall be taken during the week for consideration and adoption. Thank you.
Honourable members, business statement duly presented by the Majority Leader. It is now time for members' comment. Yes?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, a few weeks ago, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition briefed this House on the missing containers. At the time, he indicated to us that close to about 1,134 of the containers were missing. This morning, there's a report in the Daily Graphic that indicates that 2,637 of the containers, which is twice the number that he reported to us, have been retrieved. If it pleases the committee, we want the minister to appear before us to give us the latest data on the issue.
Well, Honourable Member, you know the procedure in bringing the minister to this House to respond to the issue that you are raising?
I just wanted the business committee to schedule him. If I'm going to take your time. I just wanted to plead with the chairman of the business committee to schedule the minister for this week to brief the House on the latest developments in light of the report on the front page of the Daily Graphic. That's it.
Well, Honourable Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I plead for your indulgence for comments by members, and then the leader of the House can respond to them in whole. Speaker, let me commend the Majority Leader and the Chief Whip, the entire leadership on the other house, half of the House, on a matter I cannot elucidate on, but just commend them and a running concern that members have spoken to severally, and the Majority Leader has dutifully worked on saying and has brought good relief to the entire House, particularly started off with our first-time colleagues. Even though it's work in progress, I find it appropriate that it should be commended. Speaker, just a few observations. Concerns about delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament and the Pan-African Parliament, another representation has come up strongly before we rose. And we were not able to bring finality to the same matter. Because we risk missing out on the next meeting of the Pan-African Parliament. So I humbly wish to bring to the attention of the leader to make sure that we work with dispatch. Because I'm told very soon the call will come through officially. So that will be on the delegation. Because on committee composition, in order to ensure that we don't stand in defiance of our standing orders, the last time a few members were only in just a committee. That is not right. And hence, myself and the Chief Whip had worked extensively to ensure that we deal with that anomaly. I know the report is ready. I want to plead with leadership so that we work on it ASAP and get the motion. Either we are doing it administratively or going by a motion, that we can take the motion on the House floor. There is simmering. I'm saying we should be able to take the motion, the report on the constituted committees, the amendment. We should be able to take the motion and get it adopted. Yeah, but it's your leadership work. So I defer to leadership. So there is some simmering worry about statutory payment. And I know the majority leader is very dutiful when it comes to these matters. But the worry is simmering. And I want to plead that I know the finance minister is scheduled to be in Cote d'Ivoire. I'm told he's going to be a returning officer for the AFDB elections to be held in Cote d'Ivoire. If we can schedule him to appear either Friday or Thursday, or his deputy at the committee of the whole, because it has been the practice so that they carry us along what the strategy and the plan is. Because we are in arrears of close to 20 billion. The common fund, I concede that for the health fund, we are yet to pass the formula. So that one can be distinguished. Common fund, get fund, SIF, third quarter payment to parliament, then electoral commission. It's pathetic. The last election which our colleagues won hands down with an emphatic majority.
Absolute majority.
Yeah, I concede.
Very well.
No contest. Now, the Ghanaian, the patriotic citizens of this country who worked to ensure that you win are still not being paid. I am told some close to 200 million is outstanding. And those temporary staff who were recruited by the Electoral Commission have not been paid. I plead that something is done about this ASAP. As we got to put matters in proper context, we also have concerns about the road fund payment. So, in a nutshell, the outstandings are getting out of hand. And when the majority leader, our respected majority leader, was giving his remarks, he said that there is a renewed optimism. I don't get the optimism. In the face of this outstanding, the optimism is increasingly turning into pessimism. And I pray that, and I know he's capable, it's not beyond him, when he sits quietly listening to me like this, I pray something good will come out of it. So in a nutshell, let these statutory payments be honored. And we will want to have one of our own. The finance minister should come to the House at the committee of the whole and give us some briefing what the outstandings are and what the strategies are. I know he can't pay all at a go. Plan for installment payment, what he intends to do. Now, let me conclude on a note that the majority leader has already intimated that there are a number of bills in the offing coming to this House. We want to plead with ministers. We on this side are ready to work, because we are not ready to entertain absenteeism. Some of the ministers are punctual. I can name offhand the road minister is always here. The Honorable Haruna Idrisu, education minister is here. Honorable Muntaka is often here.
Honorable Minority Chief, which part of the business statement are you commenting on?
I am commenting generally on the entire business statement. And I know that we will be having these bills in this House. Just to remind them that they are not going to entertain absenteeism. They should try and be in the House. They should try and be in the House. At least they should take a cue from some of our senior ministers who are often in the House. Because it's for our own good. And it's to help the prosecution of our business. The lands minister, and I'm concluding on that note, concerns about Galamsey, because it's getting out of hand. Yes, concerns about Galamsey. The public is interested to know what the plans are. Well, it's sad. Speaker, we heard him when
Please
he said...
Please address the chair.
Speaker, I'm addressing you. Speaker, the greatest of respect. The plans, we are going to do categorization, we are going to do blah, 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 we are going to reclaim our lands, water bodies are going to be reclaimed. The last budget, the House was approved. No show. There was no dedicated amount for reclamation of water bodies and land. I know the minister, I saw him this morning. Can we program the lands minister to come and apprise us? This is a matter of public interest. Many, many Ghanaians are interested. Your good self, you are interested in it. What has been the action line? What are the lessons we can learn as a country? And maybe they have a plan of declaring a state of emergency. All these matters the House needs to know. And I'll be glad if the majority leader can take a decision on this matter. Finally, Speaker, on our systems. Yes, I see a number of documents displayed. I tried to punch on the agenda just to have an idea on the catalogue of businesses as scheduled. And nothing was showing. Because we have had this system for close to 6 months. We were told that it's work in progress. And as we use the system will be upgraded along the line. It is not encouraging. As we also want to reduce our carbon footprint so that we can reduce the printing of these voluminous documents and be able to access soft copy on the system. Can I plead with the majority leader? You have too many things on your table. Maybe you can offload this to our respected chief whip so that we can put finality to this system and get value for money. Parliament and the Republic has spent a lot of money for this system. It can't be a situation that the system will not be functioning, and yet all these monies will be doled in lieu of the usage of the system. So I plead that we come atop it and make some amendment and ensure that we get the full benefit from the system. Having said that, I want to commend my respected leader for the prompt nature of his response to the concerns that were raised, and to urge him that he should listen to me well and ensure that we get the finance minister program to appear and to apprise us on the delay payment. Officers of the Electoral Commission are crying. Assemblies are crying. Educational institutions are crying. Parliament itself is crying for the release of second quarter release. Parliament is crying. And this cannot be the appropriate reset. Let us feel the impact of the reset agenda. This cannot be the reset agenda. So I thank you for your indulgence. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Honorable Minority. Yes, Doc.
Thank you very much,
floor.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to also join in commending the leader for the presentation of the business statement, and to also thank members of the business committee for the thorough work. But Mr. Speaker, tomorrow on the business statement, Wednesday, item number 2C, there is supposed to be a report of the Finance Committee on the Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, to the best of my knowledge, the Finance Committee hasn't yet considered this referral. And the leader of the committee, the chairperson, indicates that we shall be doing that from the 31st of this month. But no, the report of the Finance Committee, that is what. Pardon? Okay, well, sorry, indicated. Mr. Speaker, I got the sense that the report from the Finance Committee on this particular bill was supposed to be laid by the chairman of the committee, but I've just been guided that it is the bill, it's the laying of the bill before it is referred to the Finance Committee. Thank you very much.
The bill is not referred to the Finance Committee, so the Finance Committee cannot be laying reports before the introduction of the bill. Yes.
Thank you.
Bajra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me commend the leader of the House for the business statement. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Minority Chief Whip concerning the reconstitution of the parliamentary delegation to other ECOWAS parliament, especially to ECOWAS parliament. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, ECOWAS parliament is sitting in Abuja, and only 4 of our people are there. 1 sitting MP and 3 non-sitting MP who are still members of ECOWAS parliament. And Mr. Speaker, you get to know that Ghana has not presented its country report. All other West African countries have presented their report, but Ghana has not presented their report because this House has not presented a new delegation. And so I want to agree with him that we, as a matter of urgency, we must take decision on the membership this week, so that if it's even 1 or 2 people who can go and join our other colleagues there to complete the task that is set before them before the closure on the 31st of this month. Mr. Speaker, having said that, the Right Honourable Speaker has formed a committee, has asked a committee which I chair concerning the disturbances that occurred during the ministerial nomination and vetting. Mr. Speaker, the report is ready, and I want to plead with the House, with your indulgence, that tomorrow morning we can take the report and lay this matter to rest. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Majority Leader, your response to the comment.
Mr. Speaker, the issue of the composition of delegations to international parliamentary bodies is being resolved. Even this morning, I think I had some discussions with the Minority Chief Whip and gave him clear indications of my position on the matter. If that understanding is accepted, I believe the matter will be resolved easily with dispatch. So, Speaker, the other matters that have been raised about ECOWAS, I think also are related to some critical question of percentage allocation of members between the majority and the minority that has held us for a while. So I believe that given the conversations we had this morning, those matters will be resolved. So, Speaker, I think that the issue of common fund and the statutory payments, I was hoping that the Minister for Finance will be able to make a statement today, because what was holding him was some approvals to guide the transfer of the funds to the assemblies. Those approvals have been given, and the minister had actually requested me for an opportunity to come and communicate the guidelines to parliamentarians before transferring the funds to the assemblies. The minister is hoping that members of parliament will assist monitor the utilization of the funds. You will recall that the government has a policy of ensuring that 80% of the entire fund gets to the assemblies. This is a significant investment in the assemblies, and we want parliamentarians to be actively involved in monitoring the utilization of the funds so that the funds are used for the most important needs of people in the districts where the funds are going. So I can assure you that the funds are ready. The minister was hoping today to make the statement and then transfer the funds. Unfortunately, you yourself indicated that he was called upon to serve as a returning officer in Ivory Coast, and so at very short notice I had to cancel the statements that he was to make to this House, which will herald the transfer of the various funds. So I want to assure you that the funds are available. Regarding other payments that you have also questioned, I think that the minister will answer, but I know that some of the payments are predicated on some audits that needed to be done. And I know that they are far advanced in those audits, and so very soon payments will be made in respect of a lot of the outstandings that you are talking about. What I can assure you is that the payments will be made. We are looking at this in early next month, and we also want to assure members of the public that even after the payments, the stability that we are experiencing will be sustained. So, Speaker, I think those are the issues generally. I don't recall if there are any outstanding matters that are to be responded to. I think that later in the day, there will be an opportunity for us to provide some briefings to members about some matters that he raised concerning the situation of first-time members of this House. And at that appropriate time, we'll provide further and better particulars. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further comment? You want to speak on the business statement again? Yes, you have the floor.
Speaker, I appreciate the sincerity in the response of the Leader of the House. However, I tend to wonder if it is appropriate that the House approves of a formula for the distribution of the DACF. And it turns out that the minister says, I'm borrowing the respected leader's answers. The minister says, I am unable to to disburse because I have guidelines that have to be communicated even after the formula has been approved. I find that incongruous, and I think we will all have to revert our minds and ask some questions. Because it is not for nothing that Parliament is mandated to approve of the formula. And once we approve of the formula, the minister's duty it is to disburse. If you reference the budget statement, the minister made it clear that 80% will be sent directly to the assemblies, which I support in total. My concern is about the guidelines more or less serving as a hindrance to the disbursement. Then, the audit. I am aware a matter raised about the EC. Leader, there was the Electoral Commission. Yeah, I think you forgot. There's an outstanding close to 200 million, and we're told some audit exercises were being carried on. The exercise is done with, and it's important the leader relates to that matter because the audit has
Yes, I think he said he will address it.
Yes,
because the Committee on Independent Constitutional Bodies visited the independent constitutional bodies, including the EC. So this issue was came up, and he will speak to it.
Right, so.
Any further comment? Yes, Majority Leader.
Like the Right Honourable Speaker has indicated, the issue of the outstanding payments to officers who worked for the EC during the just past election will be addressed. It is part of the budget of 2024. It was approved. The funds were made available, but during the transition, somehow there was a general sweeping of accounts, and that affected them. But the finance minister has given them firm assurance that once everything is sorted out, the funds will be returned to them. Like Right Honourable Speaker has indicated, we visited them as a committee, and they brought it up with us, and we assured them that we'll follow up on it. So rest assured that it's a matter that we'll push for payments we made to the EC.
Honourable members, the business statement as presented is hereby adopted. Honourable members, we have admitted two statements. One is by Honourable Habib Idrisu, Member of Parliament for Tono, and First Deputy Minority Whip, on 2025 Hajj and Eid-ul-Adha Festival. Honourable Member, you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make a statement on the 2025 Hajj and the Eid-ul-Adha Festival. Mr. Speaker, Hajj is not merely a travel activity. It is a profound spiritual obligation for Muslims, immersed in centuries of religious heritage. Our Constitution, 1992 Constitution, and Article 21(1)(c) guarantees every citizen the freedom to practice any religion and to manifest such practice. As such, I rise this afternoon compelled by duty, faith, and fidelity to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana to address developments surrounding Ghana's current Hajj operation. Mr. Speaker, before I proceed, I would like to seize this opportunity to express my deepest gratitude and profound appreciation to the Right Honourable Speaker, Mr. Speaker Alban Sumana Kingsford Babi, and on behalf of the Muslim caucus of the 8th Parliament, we appreciate his unwavering support he has extended to the Muslim caucus through the provisions and support for the Umrah which we have done every year for the last five years. This gesture is nothing short of remarkable indeed. It is unprecedented in the annal of our history. Mr. Speaker, your generosity and commitment to the welfare of Muslims stand as a shining example of leadership with a heart, a legacy of compassion that remains unmatched. You have not only set a benchmark, but have also demonstrated what it truly means to be a leader who bridges faith, its exclusivity, and benevolence. For this, we are externally grateful, and your name will forever be entrenched in our hearts as a true champion of the Muslim community. Mr. Speaker, I was privileged to serve as a member of the Ghana Hajj Board under the previous administration. We worked with transparency and integrity to ensure that our pilgrim has a safe, dignified, and spiritually fulfilled experience. Though it was not an easy task, especially on the issues of fares, we ensured that standard of care, accommodation, logistics, coordinating were never compromised. Indeed, our pilgrims might have paid more, but they travel with peace of mind and return with their dignity intact. Mr. Speaker, the current government must be commended for reducing the Hajj fare by 13,000 Ghana cedi, from 75,000 to 62,000 Ghana cedi. However, the unfortunate reality unfolding does not reflect the reality of the living condition of our pilgrims, enduring inhumane condition in the Holy Land. They have taken to social media and other platforms to lament over inadequate accommodation, poor feeding, disorganized schedule, disrespectful treatment by handlers, and in some cases, outright neglect. Mr. Speaker, the gravity of the crisis in this year's Hajj has forced the public relations officer, one of our own, Honorable A.B.A. Fuseni, to publicly apologize to Ghanaian pilgrims, those affected by the visa issue. In his admission, he said, "We are sorry." The "we are sorry" is a damning indictment of a systematic failure. Yet, even as pilgrims remain stranded, the board response remains inadequate, and the board has informed us that reimbursement will be provided to individuals who were unable to attend, but does little to address the suffering of those current enduring conditions in Saudi Arabia. Mr. Speaker, the Hajj Task Force problems have been compounded by the reckless dismantling of institutional memory. Nearly by experienced staff from previous administration were moved, leaving the current task force without the expertise needed to manage such a complex operation. The only expectation was Dr. Shamuna, who was the director of IT, who was later invited back to assist in the operations when issues crop up. Mr. Speaker, Article 12(1) of our Constitution provides that the fundamental human rights and freedom enshrined in this chapter shall be respected and upheld by the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, and all other arms of government. The state's failure to protect pilgrims through the Hajj Task Force violates this sacred duty. Article 17 further states that all persons shall be equal before the law. Yet Ghanaian pilgrims face discrimination, neglect in Saudi Arabia, and in some instances, they were evacuated from their hotel. Mr. Speaker, this is a violation of Article 34(1), which mandates that the state policy must establish a just and a free society. There is nothing just about pilgrims sleeping on floors or going hungry. There is nothing free about silencing grievances while failing to deliver basic services. Mr. Speaker, the situation calls for urgent national reflection. Governance must not be reduced to sound bites and optics. Faith-based programs such as Hajj require technical knowledge, transparency, and commitment to the welfare of citizens, and not shallow political scoring. The reduction of the Hajj fare was clearly not based on any comprehensive assessment of cost and service delivery. Today, the consequences are clear. The very people who were supposed to benefit from the reduction of the Hajj fare are now suffering from same. Mr. Speaker, over the last 8 years, Hajj organization has been successful, even though without challenge, but it still managed to be successful. In this case, in 2025, it has been a serious problem resulting from bad hotels, distance of hotels to the Holy Spirit, and pilgrims are now suffering to catch up, whether praying or to cater for their own life. Mr. Speaker, Article 35 of the Constitution enjoins the state to promote the integration and unity of all Ghanaians and to provide equal opportunity for all. Let us remember that the pilgrims are not only Muslims, but they are equally citizens of Ghana. They are our fathers, they are our mothers, they are our leaders and constituents. We must rise above partisan consideration and ensure that never again do Ghanaian pilgrims suffer in pursuit of a sacred duty. Mr. Speaker, let the truth be known and let responsibilities be taken. The politicization of Hajj has failed us as Ghanaians. It is high time we take politics out of the organization of Hajj. It is high time we take politics out of its pricing, accommodation, the services rendered. It is time to restore dignity, competence, and faith in this important national and religious endeavor. Mr. Speaker, the organization of Hajj is about competence and care. The politicization of Hajj has failed. Let us restore dignity to this sacred journey and let us have a trouble-free Hajj. Our current pilgrims in Saudi Arabia are suffering. Our current pilgrims in Saudi Arabia, much don't have accommodation. Others are going hungry. Our mothers and our fathers are suffering in the sacred land. And for that matter, the committees of parliament responsible for such, the foreign affairs and the youth and sports, should take up this matter and collaborate with the Hajj task force to ensure that the necessary attention are given to the pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, honourable members. The statement ably made, and it is now for honourable members' comment. Yes, Honourable Dr. Sama.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And the Committee on Chieftaincy, Religious and Cultural Affairs is really interested in this issue of pilgrimage. We, as a country, is a religious nation. Over 75 Christians and over 20% Muslim is something that we have to be proud of as a nation. And we want to encourage that pilgrimage across both the Christian fraternity and the Muslim fraternity as well. Mr. Speaker, it's quite unfortunate that we have Ghanaians going out and they will have to go through such difficult times as they're trying to build themselves both spiritually and physically. And we as a nation will want to support them with all the needed resources that as they go, they can come back spiritually strong and to be able to improve on the peace that we intend to build for our future generations. So, Mr. Speaker, the committee, as I earlier said, is interested and would want to look further into what happened as a committee responsible for religious affairs of this August House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to comment on the statement made by the First Deputy Minority Whip in respect of the contribution of Speaker towards the preparation of our pilgrims who are embarking on a trip to Mecca.
Honorable Majority Chief, we hold it. Honorable Member, you've been on your feet for some time. Are you on point of order? Please continue.
And some matters are rising. Mr. Speaker, it's true that the contribution of Speaker towards this annual religious ritual is notable. So it's in order that he's commended for it. But I think that the member ought to commend the President of the Republic for the monumental drop that he directed from the fare of 75,000 Ghana cedis to now 62,000 Ghana cedis. That is a drop of 13,000 Ghana cedis difference. And it is very significant. Mr. Speaker, as I speak, contrary to the matters raised by the maker of the statement, our pilgrims are flying from Tamale to Mecca directly and flying from Kotoka in Accra also to Mecca directly. For the past 3 weeks, flights are lifting off and landing in Mecca. So I am shocked to hear that suddenly our pilgrims are hungry and have no accommodation. And they are going through the processes. This is pilgrimage. Mr. Speaker, let's be very frank and give credit where it is due. Speaker, as we speak, the maker of the statement says that the reduction of the air ticket was not done in comparison or based on any assessment at all. Not based on any assessment at all. But the benefit is that if I had to pay 75,000 cedis last year, this year naturally the fare would have gone up. But the president says, I am reducing the fare. And the shortfall is borne by the state. That is where the commendation must go. Speaker, again, the First Deputy Minority Whip laments the fact that some appointees serving on the Hajj board have been removed. Oh, you said they have been removed. Well, let me quote you. You are lamenting that for some reason, persons who are serving on the Hajj board now lack institutional memory as a result of the fact that those who were there before they came have all been removed. And that you quoted the Constitution to support the fact that there must be fair treatment of all public staff or all persons within the public space. I agree. But if you refer to matters of institutional memory, then we should have had people who were serving on the Hajj board since 2015. In 2017, they were all removed. So that practice, I agree that you and I, sitting here, there was a Hajj board before year 2000, Mr. Speaker. There was a Hajj board before year 2000. But upon the onset of year 2000, 2001, somebody directed that it should be removed. So this practice of removing people from public space for new ones to take over when there's a change of government, it began from you, it began from this side. So if today you lament that it's a bad practice, yes, I agree. So we must depart from that path. And I hope that in 30 years' time, when you come, you will be removing people from the Hajj board. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend, contrary to what the maker of the statement is saying, I want to commend our own colleagues, Alhaji Collins Dauda, who is in charge of the preparation so far regarding getting our pilgrims to travel successfully to Mecca and back, ably assisted by the Honorable Member for Mankarigu, the Honorable Mahama Shaibu, to do this. Mr. Speaker, if you visit the Hajj village, the sheer number of pilgrims who are going through the process, the sheer number of persons, loved ones who have come to assist so that they embark on the trip, presents a certain challenge logistically. But they have weathered the storm. Speaker, arranging transportation for persons to travel from here to Tamale to board and to fly to Mecca in their hundreds. It takes some challenge and ability to do that. Securing flight arrangements for people who are on the ground here to embark on the trip from Kotoka also presents some challenge. It took some skill for them to go through all that. And luckily, if God gives us tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, I believe the last batch will be airlifted. And so I want to use the opportunity to commend them for good work done. And we pray that this year, none of our pilgrims who have been flown to Mecca will suffer any fatality. And that all of them will return home in good health, having gone through the Umrah. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Yes, Honorable Doctor.
Thank you very much.
You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to join in commending the respected Deputy Chief Whip for this brilliant statement. Mr. Speaker, there are certain things that I think that should go beyond politics. And as rightly put by my friend, Dr. Samoa, religion is one. And as a country, we have chosen for ourselves that we believe in some tenets of faith, be it Christianity, traditional religion, or Muslim or Islam. Mr. Speaker, Hajj has been performed over time. This is not the first time pilgrims are moving from Tamale to Hajj straight. For the first time, consecutively, pilgrims, since they started moving from Tamale, it's been a ritual practice. And I think that if this current government is continuing with that, we only commend them for continuing in a precedent that was set and a practice that has been tested to be very much efficient in the management of Hajj affairs. Mr. Speaker, but the issues this year, the sheer neglect of pilgrims, the deplorable conditions some of these pilgrims are living, the inhumane environment, if you like, the insanitary conditions of these pilgrims are facing in Hajj is not something that you want your family member to live in. Mr. Speaker, it might be as a result of lapses, and we have to admit, because an event of that nature, you cannot organize it without challenges. We have to admit. But the challenges we are facing this year are far more enormous. I have gone to Hajj. I participated in the last two before the last one. Okay? And I know the conditions pilgrims go through. And this year, we have to do everything. Mr. Speaker, one of the reasons is that government is intervening in this year Hajj by the subsidy program, the difference between the actual price and what the pilgrims are now paying. And that is why the respected leader of the House, Mr. Dafi Amakpo, is wanting us to praise the government for. Good. If government decides to build cathedral, which is a problem, but a different government decides to subsidize Hajj, and it's okay, it is the matter of government priorities. And we will not want to go into the propriety of that. But the subsidy program is what was holding the Hajj program. But that notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, that notwithstanding, the subsidy program came in, many of the people who applied, they didn't get visas. Over 50 people, the Hajj board reported that over 40 people did not get visas. These were people who duly paid for their pilgrims to go to Mecca by no fault of theirs. Due to institutional failure, they could not go and perform a ritual. And you think that we should not talk about this here, Mr. Speaker? It is important we acknowledge the faith of these people. It is important that we first acknowledge it and put in measures so that subsequent programs, subsequent journeys will not be faced with such programs. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, there is this talk about the fact that the NDC government has done something radical different when it comes to the organization of Hajj. Mr. Speaker, the previous government realized the need to facilitate Hajj program, and that's why we commenced the Hajj Village program as part of the airport extension or airport development program. Fortunately, this government came in to inherit that program and commission it. If we had not started this brilliant idea, Mr. Speaker, I'm not sure the government would have seen the need to continue with that. So, Mr. Speaker, let us be mindful that when it comes to Hajj, it is a ritual journey that those who embark on that journey will have to be protected, and their safety, their health, and their welfare must be prioritized by the government, and we should all be seen supporting the statement made by Honorable Idris Habib, the Deputy Minority Chief Whip, for this brilliant statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Minority Whip, not Minority Chief Whip. Honorable Shaibu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me comment the maker of the statement for insightfully and initial paragraphs outlined clearly what the issues of Hajj have been. Indeed, he's been on that seat for the last 3 or 4 years. And when you organize in Hajj, the issues and the problems that go with it. Speaker, let me put on record that government has not subsidized Hajj fares. It should be on record that the Hajj task force negotiated competitively this year's Hajj fares from 75,000 Ghana cedis to 62,000 Ghana cedis. That is effective negotiation. And I would want to put that on record. The maker of the statement should be commending the task force for reducing fares by 13,000 Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker. The second one is that last year, an estimated 3,500 pilgrims, thereabouts, were airlifted to Medina and Mecca. This year, Mr. Speaker, we are airlifting 5,910 pilgrims per the available statistics and data. That is a whooping jump. Indeed, as a human institution, you will have challenges. The same accommodation the honorable leader used in the last 2-3 pilgrimages is still what we have used. Indeed, because of the numbers, from 3,500 to 5,910, we have had to add additional accommodation. The issues of sheer neglect by the honorable member for Walwale in sanitary conditions, I think, are just too harsh to comprehend. We have indeed done the very best to manage this year's Hajj. Let me commend the leadership of the current task force. Mr. Speaker, Hajj normally will start with meetings, what we call the Hijra meetings, in the later part of October and November, right into the preceding year. Indeed, Ghana missed out on all the Hijra meetings of last year, up until elections. And so we nearly lost out, Mr. Speaker. Very importantly, Ghana nearly lost out in attending Hajj this year. But for the timely intervention of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who hurriedly put together the Hajj Task Force to manage and get us back onto the 2025 Hajj season. So indeed, there would be issues, but they are being surmounted, Mr. Speaker. As we speak, the last batch of pilgrims, Mr. Speaker, will leave the Kotoka International Airport tomorrow at 2 p.m. And that would have signaled the end of our 14-flight movement from Accra and Tamale to Jeddah and Makkah. Indeed, it is a solemn season, a season to reflect on all that the pilgrims will wish. We pray that the Almighty Allah will take them to Hajj safely, accept their prayers, and bring them back safely. I thank you so very much, Mr. Speaker. And let me comment, my brother, for raising the issues that are surmountable on the floor. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, we also have a statement standing in the name of Honourable Ramadan on the need to address. The statement is on flooding in Adenta constituency and the need to address the illegal putting up of structures on waterways. Remember, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in recent days, parts of the Adenta constituency have experienced significant flooding due to heavy rainfall. This situation has caused disruptions to daily life, property damage, and raised serious concerns amongst residents about the state of our drainage infrastructure and flood preparedness. Mr. Speaker, as a constituency, we do acknowledge that flooding is not a new issue in the Adenta constituency. However, the increasing frequency and intensity of these events demand urgent and sustained action. The Adentan Municipal Assembly is actively engaging the relevant national authorities, including the Ghana Hydrological Services Department and NADMO, to coordinate a comprehensive and immediate response. Mr. Speaker, our immediate priorities include clearing and desilting of major drains and waterways to ensure the free flow of storm water, immediate assessment of flood-prone areas to provide relief and support to affected households, accelerating the completion of key drainage projects already underway within the constituency, and community engagement and public education on waste disposal practices and flood safety. Mr. Speaker, the recent flooding incident in the Adenta constituency is a stark reminder of the urgent need to address short-term and structural challenges that continue to affect the safety and well-being of our residents. Over the past few days, several communities within the constituency have suffered from the flooding and posing a serious risk to lives. Mr. Speaker, one of the primary causes of this recurring issue is the encroachment and construction on natural waterways and drainage paths. These developments, often carried out without proper permits or environmental assessments, obstruct the natural flow of water, leading to overflows and flash floods during heavy rainfalls. Mr. Speaker, we cannot continue to ignore the consequences of unregulated urban development any longer. it is essential that city planning authorities, traditional leaders, developers, and community members work together to enforce zoning laws and protect environmentally sensitive areas. Mr. Speaker, as the Member of Parliament for the Adenta constituency, I am committed to working closely with the Municipal Assembly, the Ghana Hydrological Services Department, and NADMO, and other relevant stakeholders to 1. Identify and demolish illegal structures built on waterways. 2. Enhance and expand existing drainage infrastructure to accommodate the increasing volume of water runoff. 3. Educate the public on the environmental and safety impacts of improper construction and practices. And 4. Considers long-term climate resilience and community safety. We are also calling on residents to support ongoing efforts by avoiding dumping refuse into drains and reporting any blocked or overflowing drainage systems to the authorities promptly. Mr. Speaker, this is a collective challenge that requires both government commitment and community. We remain resolute in finding lasting solutions to this recurring problem and will continue to push for increased investment in resilient infrastructure for the Adentan municipality. Mr. Speaker, I wish to extend to all affected individuals and families. Your safety and well-being are our top priority. Therefore, let us come together to protect lives, property, and the future of our constituency. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to make the statement. Thank you.
Honourable members, the statement is ably made by Honourable Ramadan. Any comment? Yes. Honourable Former Minister for Rules.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement ably made by Honourable Mohammed Adamu Ramadan, a fine gentleman from Adenta constituency. Mr. Speaker, the issue of flooding, as was experienced in Adenta constituency, resonates beyond constituency boundaries. Indeed, it is a national issue. As a boy who grew up in an urban community of Bantima, Kumasi, and also an MP from an urban community, I am acutely aware of the challenges of flooding and its economic impacts. Mr. Speaker, the economic cost of flooding in our country is so huge to the extent that it undermines our development efforts as a country. When Honorable Kabiru was speaking, he mentioned the fact that there are certain issues that should transcend beyond politics. One of such issues is flooding. As a minister, former minister for Western Housing, I am very much aware of various interventions that governments over the years have made towards the fight against flooding. In fact, during the period of President Akufo-Addo, flood control measures, investment in flood control measures alone was about 600 million Ghana cedis, flood control. And that was unprecedented. No other government had made such investment into flood control, apart from the regular drainage infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, flooding, we all know that there's inadequate drainage infrastructure in our country. Over the years, as I mentioned, over time, government continued to enhance the drainage infrastructure. But regardless of the investment we make in the drainage infrastructure, there are two key things that if we do not control, it will undermine the various interventions by government to curb flooding in our country. That is unregulated urban development. Mr. Speaker, there is enough body of laws in our country to prevent unregulated development. The Local Government Act empowers the district assemblies as the highest planning authorities in our country. Whenever a development is going to be made, whoever is going to initiate the development has to apply to the district assemblies to make sure that there is permit before the person can start the development. But what do you see today? Haphazard development all over. And that is the main reason why we are experiencing these flooding events. So I want to take this opportunity to urge the political actors as well as the local government officials to be up and doing and implement to the letter the provisions as enshrined in the Local Government Act that can help prevent flooding in our country. Another issue is also the haphazard disposal of waste. Everybody knows that when you put waste into our drainage channels, it blocks the way to the extent that when it rains and the water cannot find any other place to pass, it will just overflow into the communities and it creates flooding. But yet, people continue to dump waste into our drainage channels. We continue to blame government, we continue to blame the district assemblies. The Speaker, what are we also doing as citizens? I'm urging a community action against this issue of flooding. Because once the community come together and prevent people from building on waterways and prevent people from dumping solid waste into our drainage channels, we will go a long way in addressing this flooding issue. There's power in community action, Mr. Speaker, even more powerful than the power of government. If people come together, they can do a lot to protect our country. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to commend once again Honorable Mohammed Adamu for coming out with measures that can help address the issue of flooding. But there's no better measure than encouraging the citizenry not to sit on the fence, not to behave as spectators, but to behave as active participants, so that when they see that somebody is dumping solid waste into our drainage channels, you can report that to the appropriate authority. When someone is developing on waterways, that we all know that is the reason why these flooding events have been occurring, it will go a long way in addressing this issue of flooding. Otherwise, government will continue to commit funds to build drainage infrastructure, and yet our own actions and inactions will undermine the effort of government. So this should not be politicized at all. We should see this as a national problem, and every Ghanaian must make an effort to take part in an effort to fight flooding in our country. With these few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to once again commend Honorable Mohammed Adamu Ramadan for this thoughtful and insightful statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I now give the floor to Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Vedra.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me commend my brother, the Member of Parliament for Adenta, for drawing the attention and drawing the public's attention to what has happened in Adenta recently. Mr. Speaker, it is true, I live in his constituency. It is true that there was a flooding, and some people, as I speak now, are being housed in some hotels, and we have to pay for those who are being housed in those hotels. Mr. Speaker, we also be told that we've lost 3 lives, 3 precious lives, as a result of this downpour that has, overflowed our drainage. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend him because he has drawn our attention to the fact that the major cause one of the major causes of this perennial overflooding of our drains is basically people taking the law into their own hands by building houses on waterways. Mr. Speaker, how long can we come to this house and draw the attention of authorities that building houses on waterways is not allowed and is not permitted? Mr. Speaker, you'll be surprised that the owners of this apartment, owners of these houses, were given license or permit to put up houses. Who are those who give permit for the construction of apartments and houses on these waterways? It is our authorities, municipal authorities, the planning authorities. And so, if someone has been given authority or permit to put up a house in a waterway, and the person has decided to put up that house, it is not only those who have put the house who are culpable, but the planning authorities must also be held accountable. That is why I'm siding with him that the municipal planning officer, those who gave permit to legally, permit those who put houses in legally acquired areas, should also be held accountable. In addition to that, those who did not acquire any permit before putting up the house, those people should be taken to the law court and be sanctioned, because 3 precious lives were lost as a result of somebody's negligence, as a result of somebody's wickedness by putting a house on a waterway. Apart from that, Mr. Speaker, those of us in the built environment from our profession, there are new way of doing things. When you go to Netherlands, there was reclamation and they put their houses. So how can't our hydrological authorities also come up with a new way? There's a new way of drawing, designing drainage. Now we have open drains. How can we continue with open drains? Why can't we have closed drains? Because in his statement, he said people were dumping, debris and things in the gutters or drains, and that's what causes the choking. Can we have closed drains? And if you have a closed drain, you only have a galley, that rod you use to rod whether there's a clocking or not. But if you have open drains and we continue designing and constructing open drains, people will, by all means, with our level of education, will, dump debris in those gutters. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to plead with the Delta municipality and all other municipalities that they should take their time when they want to give permit to put up houses. They should take their time. And also, I agree with him that let's do rezoning. If we cannot go with the new way of doing things by constructing French drains or constructing closed drains, then let's make sure that before permit is given, we do the right thing. With this few words, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I want to thank the maker of the statement also.
Yes, Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, let me try and be brief on the subject matter raised by my good friend, Honorable Ramadan. Speaker, I can't agree more with Honorable Asenso, who says the matter replicates across the country. So even though our colleague is limiting himself to his constituency, we may have to inflect and look at the effect of it across the country, especially now that we have the rains here, and look at it in broader context. Then we can prescribe solutions in that sense. Honorable Bejra, who I know is a professional in the built environment, has related to the issues well. I'll try and categorize my observations in threefold. First has to do with the separation of waste. Yes, the Honorable Bejra says we should have closed drains. Yes, we can have the closed drains, but that would take some time because of the exacting nature of it in terms of finance and the cost. So in the meantime, we should be able to separate our waste. We can't justify why, as a country, we still, in fact, globally, Africa is probably the only part of the world where we don't separate our waste. We lump the entire waste together, and as a result, it reduces our ability to process the waste and then the reuse or reusage of the waste. So that matter, and it's so fundamental. We are also concretizing our cities, just like that. Every part of the city, you are putting concrete there. So you don't have buffers. So once you don't have these buffers and it rains torrentially, then the flooding will be a welcome news. It will be a matter of course. It will be a matter of course. Now, the grant in other jurisdictions, I think Indonesia and other jurisdictions that I know of, the granting of building permits comes with the issuance of seedlings. So you are granted building permits to put up a structure. You are given seedlings to nurture, plant, nurture, and ensure that those seedlings grow. So all over the cities, you have plants and vegetation consciously done. An industrialized country like Germany, we got Berlin. You have a lot of trees in Berlin. This vegetation, they help, one, in absorbing excess water, one, also help in the carbon sink equation. So, and thankfully we have a very fertile land. In any part of our country, if you plant, it will grow. It will grow. We've had a number of projects, the Conti project, the number of projects that were supposed to help, the Gary project was supposed to help with the desilting, the provision of more drains, and for some of them, there are question marks how the funds were used. So, Speaker, unless incrementally we improve, we cannot make a significant impact. The assemblies must have a role to play. And I cannot agree more with the Honorable Bajira when he says people at the assembly will grant permit. I'm not saying all of them. Many of them will grant permit anyhow. And then it will lead to destruction of properties and lives. And these people go scot-free. And then we come back to the government, central government, and say the central government should provide more funding for provision of drains. It will not happen. So we must get our facts right. Ramsey sites are all being encroached upon. Ramsey sites, which are supposed to serve as natural buffers, we are building on Ramsey sites. The last time the president himself, and I saw the president himself on television, questioning why Ramsey sites were being encroached upon. And we have city authorities who are sitting idle. I wish you could, in your wisdom, you could give some consequential directives, not because it's a denta, because it has a more a significant ramification. The rains are here, and we should be seen to be planning and doing some things right before it gets out of hand. If you agree with me, we should do some directives and expect the Minister for Works and Housing and even the local government minister and the committee relevant, they should do some work. We can't lament on the statement and just go and sleep. And I think that is a matter we should take in good strides. So as we are in drawing the curtains, I think we should look at the granting of building permit. We should reduce the concretization of our cities. We should help in the plantation of more trees. And the assembly should be brought to book. Those who are not working, we should deal with them. They should face the rigors of the law. And the Minister for Works and Housing and the local government minister should be brought into action, and something must be done. Speaker, we can't lament and just leave this matter to rest. And I implore you to give some consequential directives for us to take some further action, and the conversation can go on, because now the rains are coming more. We are going to have more rains. And the people of Adenta and other places that are prone to flooding will be at the mercy of the weather again. No.
Honorable Minority Chief Whip, what are you doing? Please address the chair.
Yeah, so, in conclusion, I implore you to give some consequential directives on this subject matter because it goes beyond the borders of Adenta. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, majority leadership.
Speaker, I want to see the place for the Honorable Lukuto to have the mic.
Honorable Maxwell Lukuto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I must first of all share the condolences of the House to the people of Adenta, especially at the lakeside area. Ironically, the area is lakeside. It means there is a lake. And so it's unfortunate that people build so close to the lake, and some of these issues happen, and they have found one thing. Let me also commend the Regional Minister for Greater Accra for a good job done, especially at the Tema area, where she started demolishing some houses that were illegally built on the Ramsar site. Like the Honorable Minority Chief Whip said, this is a holding area for excess water from the cities. It is because these days we build so much everywhere and there's concrete everywhere. Water doesn't seep into the soil, and so it has to be held somewhere. Unfortunately, where it has to be held is where we also go to build. The issue about permitting, it will interest you to know that most of the people who do these illegal structures do not have permits to build where they build. And there are times that they engage in a lot of rezoning activities. Rezoning means that the place has been zoned for an open space, a green area where water can collect. But they are rezoned into industrial areas. And sometimes, ironically, it is some powerful in society, the rich, our pastors, the politicians, anybody, put pressure on the district assemblies to be able to grant permit for some of these structures to be built. And so when these things happen, the poor who have lived there earlier bear the brunt of our dire need to want to fit in an already congested area. Most of us are not interested in going to the suburbs to be able to build our structures. We want to build right in the city center where the place is already choked. Also because our transport systems are not too good. So somebody wants to live close to Parliament so that in 10, 15 minutes he can drive to Parliament instead of going to Adenta or Dowenya or some outskirts to go and build on a fresh land. We want to fit ourselves into the already congested system. And so these are some of the causes that plague us. We might not entirely blame the town planning people because, like I said earlier, sometimes we ourselves put pressure on them to grant these permits and to do the rezoning. And so these are the effects of some of the activities we invariably cause them to do. The issue about the open and the closed drains sometimes is because of our discharge of waste. It affects even the closed drains. On Saturday, I led a cleanup exercise in my community, Sogakope to be precise. When we lifted the covering of the drains, the amount of filth that was in the drains, you can't believe it. So there were places that were covered completely. We were thinking of breaking through to see what is under because the filth choked the water so that the water can't even flow. And so in as much as we are advocating for closed drains to be constructed, we should also think about our littering inactions. We litter so much that all these drains get choked and water cannot flow. So in as much as we sympathize with the people at Adenta and all other places that got flooded during these rains, we are expecting more. I saw some buildings in Adenta and the water is at the roof level. I see, how can this happen? Water at roof level. It's even more than what happened during the spillage of the Akosombo Dam and the people of Mepe. It's so unfortunate. And so in as much as we are bringing these things to bear, let us also look at the actions we take as people. People who build, we should know that there's a rainy day, and when it comes, we are going to be affected. With these few words, I want to thank my colleague, Honorable Ramadan, for ably making this statement. But it's becoming a ritual. Every year on TV and in this house, we keep talking about flooding anytime it rains, and it looks like we are not taking positive actions to be able to reverse the situation. I just heard the former Minister of Works and Housing saying that there was unprecedented actions taken. The question is, what has it resulted into? So let us sit at the round table again and look at very pragmatic efforts that we have to take as a people of this country to make sure that next year we don't come to this same house to come and lament, complain, call people to order, and at the end of the day, nothing happens. With these few words, I want to commend you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, as we think about new ways of constructing gutters, I believed we need to change our attitude. Why would you dump waste in a gutter? Why would you grant permit for a building to be constructed on waterways? Why would you build on waterways, whether with permit or without permit? Why will you put up a house on Ramsay Sag? Honourable members, I think the way we can deal with this issue is when we change our attitude as Ghanaians. I would direct that the statement be transferred to the minister responsible for works and housing and the minister responsible for local government, chieftaincy, and religious affairs to see how best we can come together as executive and the legislature to address this particular issue. If it will call for a legal regime, then we would have to do that. Because day in, day out, we complain about flood leading to death, and nothing is being done about it. I believe if we can change our attitude or put measures in place to get people who dump waste in gutters punished, I believe we will refrain from conducts that lead to our gutters being choked. Honourable members, we've come to the end of statement, or statement time has ended. I have this announcement for you before I will turn to leadership for guidance. Honourable members, we know the strategic plan of Parliament for the period 2020 to 2024 has expired. Parliament is therefore in the process of developing a new strategic plan, in view of which the Right Honourable Speaker has constituted a steering committee with a proposed membership as follows. 1. Honourable Bernard Ahia for First Deputy Speaker. Honourable Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra. Honourable Zaneto Ajiman Rollins. Honourable Patrick Yaoboma. Honourable Kojo Opon Nkrumah. Dr. Rashid Dramani. And Professor Justice Nyingma Baole. These are the members of the steering committee. And the steering committee will be supported by the entire leadership of both the minority and the majority side. The leaders, together with the whips, are to support the steering committee. Honourable members, some members of Parliament from the majority side and the minority side have been selected to support the committee in doing or in putting in place the strategic plan. On the majority side, the members are Honourable James Agalga, Honourable Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra, Honourable Fred Kwesi Agbenyo, Honourable Professor Hamza Adam, Honourable Godfrey Seidu Jasau, Honourable Mohamed Mubarak Muntaka, Honorable Gisela Akushika Tete Agbotui, Honorable Agnes Namumolate, Honorable Abdul Rashid Hassan Felpo, Honorable Felix Kwachi Ofosu, Honorable Ablajifa Gomashi, Honorable Alfred Oko Vanderpoy, Honorable Soini Saibu Alhassan, Honorable Collins Daoda, Honorable Clement Abbas Apak, Honorable Dominica Kuritinga Ayene, Honorable Elizabeth Ofosu Ajari, Honorable Emilia Atta, Honorable Zaneto Ajiman Rollins, Honorable Eric Kopoku, Honorable Francis Xavier Kojo Sosu, Honorable Grace Ayensu Dankwa, Honorable Ibrahim Muntala Mohammed, Honorable Helena Joan Toso, Honorable James J. Kwesi, Honorable John Abdullah Jinapo, Honorable Kofi Idi Adams, Honorable Lydia Lamisi Akavariba, Honorable Ethniel Eko Kwenu, Honorable Peter Lancheri Tobu, Honorable Peter Kwesi Notu Kotui, Honorable Richard Kure, Honorable Samuel Nate George, Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Honorable Sebastian Sandari, Honorable Sebastian Fred Dare, Honorable Shaibu Mahama, Honorable Titus Kofi Beyo, Honorable Zuera Mohammed Ibrahim. Honorable members from the minority side, we have Honorable Abna Ose Asari, Honorable Professor Kinsley Nyako, Honorable Dr. Gideon Boako, Honorable Kojo Opon Honorable Abdul Kabiru Tia Mahama, Honorable Alhassan Kampuli Sulemana, Honorable Brian Achampo, Honorable Dominic Bingab Eduna Nitiwul, Honorable Azik Boama Nyako, Honorable Reverend John Tim Fojo, Honorable Samuel Abdullah Jenapo, Honorable John Dako, Honorable Loretta Koko Asanti, Honorable Kobina Ochredako Mensa, Honorable Kwaku Ajiman Kwate, Honorable Kwame Anyimadu Entry, Honorable Nana Ayu Afriye, Honorable Muhammad Amin Adam, Honorable Nana Ajay Bafo Ewa, Honorable Patrick Boachi Yadom, Honorable Patrick Yauboma, Honorable Stephen Amwa, Honorable Yao Frimpong Ado, and Honorable Dr. Yao Edu Chum. Honorable members, this is very important in our life, strategic plan of Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. It's about Parliament, and I will therefore encourage members to take key interest and participate fully in the deliberations of the committee. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we have an addendum to the standing order. Instead of committee of the whole, we want a closed sitting so that we can discuss, get approval for certain matters.
Very well. So, yes, minority, if we.
Speaker, is in order to the prior discussions and agreement we had. No objection.
Yes. Are you on your feet? Yes. So, honourable members, I've seen the sense of the House. The House is accordingly constituted into a closed sitting. I will therefore ask the Marshal to do the needful